Wait, why are you guys talking about new civs? We need to be talking about new civs appearing competitive. Dragons are back. Ladies and gents, it's that time. Grand Finals Midweek Muster number 10. It's happening again. Will B make it a triplet? Will he have back-to-back-to-back victories in the Midweek Muster? Or is Dumu going to get his revenge after last week? We head into Bohemia to start this off. OOTD versus Japanese. Definitely feels like comfort all around, right? For B, he loves Japanese. He'll play them on land. He'll play them at sea. Dumu, however, has been regularly prioritizing Order of the Dragon at the moment. He's been grinding it religiously on stream. And we have also seen him commit to it as first pick type material in his execution on Bohemia specifically. Yeah, interesting civ, actually. I think the best way to kind of highlight this one is underexplored, right? Like, we've seen this with other civs as well, where people moan that they're crap, and then they explore it, and they discover, actually, it's just we didn't really know how to leverage it. I think Order of the Dragon kind of fits to that. It did, however, get some beneficial buffs along the way, right? Slight tweaks over, like, the last year, in conjunction with Pro Scouts being desirable for this particular civ, because in a meta where Pro Scouts is viable, you basically have a civ that has an amplified economy and thus a cleaner and quicker way to get into Pro Scouts, right? Because while all the other units take longer and cost more to produce, there's no such thing as a Gilded Scout, which is a shame. I would totally be up for a Gilded Scout that can pick up 2 deer, but move insanely slow. For B, I wonder if we're going to be seeing the Koka here. Kura's probably a lot safer. I don't really know if you want to have Koka Township up against Gilded Horsemen. It feels like that is just a recipe for disaster. Going Kura would also mean he wouldn't need to prioritize Pro Scouts. Yeah, guys, we're going to say Order the Dragon just lets Gilded Scouts pick up Boar, right? Okay, so he does go Koka. I guess the thought process here is he's expecting Dumu to go into Pro Scouts. So by going for your Shinobi, you can block those scouts because you know he's going to want to pump up to 4 before he adds in a horseman. At that stage, you should have realistically 4 Shinobi at least, and 4 Shinobi can kick the teeth out of a Gilded Horseman. The tricky part is if you're a little bit slow on the pump and your opponent starts to mass horseman fast. Because like Gilded Horseman won't lose to Shinobi like standard horseman will, right? We're talking about 15 base damage and ability to kite. And it means that also Shinobi can't Shunshin away like they would against, say, infantry comps. Gilded Scouts who can pick up enemy scouts and then suplex drop them. So 76% predictions in favor of Dumu here. I don't know if you guys have been watching B gameplay. Like this has been the scary civ, I think. He's had some really, really impressive strategies with this particular one. We don't have any rush to get wood here, right? I mean, from wood, I don't think we're necessarily going to be seeing... Wait, we are, aren't we? This is Pro Scouts. You know how you can tell? He's gathering just enough wood to prio Pro Scouts and then follow up with the stables. Which is a bit weird, actually, because he also got Tawara. Right? So this isn't the most clean execution if that is the plan. And what is up, Deniskia? Appreciate the raid, mate. Hope you had a good stream. Welcome, one and all. Just in time for the grand finals. So Pro Scouts queued up here. This definitely is PS on the other side. And Shinobi queued as well. Wait, is this... Okay, now I want to doubt that it's Pro Scouts, but it's 6 villages on gold, which is quite a lot. Like, even if you're fast casting, I don't think you need that many on gold yet. You'd want more food, right? So he's going to prioritize going to Shinobi. I think realistically 3 is probably a bit better, but the spawns are a bit split, so your opponent realistically should be going deer here, but he could always go far flank and right behind him as well. Whereas now by massing Shinobi quickly, you can stand here and block the deer. And because the scout's going to move so slow, you can get the initial stab in and then jump past them with a blink. Pretty cool. I like this opening. I think Shinobi really has given a level of depth to Japanese that just didn't exist before. Right, at one point, Shinobi felt a bit memey unless you're playing water. Sakura was too good. And now you have a situation where, like, yeah, losing out on the free farm sucks a bit, but the value play of Shinobi is just too good to resist. When you have these units, even if you only get the 1 ninja for free, it forces reactions. Think of it the same way you would the king. It's like Dimu is going to get blocked off the gold. Already has decent amount to work with here. And we do have an archer range being dropped behind. And there you go. It is indeed going to be pro scouts from B. Nice thing about this, it means he's going to the stables, which means this gilded archer play, you can counter it, right? Like your opponent is going to have to react archers, which means he's not going to pry horsemen. And it means that your horseman can counterplay what Dimu's doing. Like, it's the same effect as landmark production buildings. Kind of like what Council Hall used to do in the very early days of AoE 4. Where I already have archers, so you now have to react with 150 wood to build a counter. And once you do that, I've already reacted with the same amount of wood to build the next counter. This is the cool thing about Coca. It puts you a step ahead. And what makes it feel even better is it's not like you're putting yourself a step ahead with a slow, sluggish unit, right? Like, if Shinobi moved at, say, 1 movement speed because they're sneaky, I think this unit would be less dominant in these opening plays. Took me 6 months to catch on to Coca. That's true, I did have access to them a whole year before. Anyone ever noticed how Philly's kind of like that I told you so person? Philsbo, if those don't know, knows every single strategy that's ever been perceived. Right? When he was a kiddo and he was given a tour of the Avengers set, he stole the eye. He's seen all outcomes, knows all outcomes. So B could actually just turn around now and start hitting this, but the Gilded Archers would just attack him too quick. So he's going to run away instead. Formation shuffling could protect everyone. Oh, Dimu. Didn't pay attention. I think he actually got raided into the base. Yeah, so distraction tactics coming in. He's going for some more stabs. Like, this is already significant damage onto the horseman. Yeah, what was the artifact called in Avengers? Was it the Eye of Agamotto? I think that's what it was called, right? I don't know, this is looking pretty good for B. If he can get to Uma Bannerman, that's when things really get a bit grim for Dimu, because he's added quite a lot of Gilded Archers in here. There's also the pressure play, like where it's putting him on the map. I mean, B, he's been very cost efficient about his Pro Scouts play. He didn't go for like the 4 or 5 that we normally see. He only played Double Scout, because he needs the Horseman, right? Needs to be a Shinobi Bannerman? Why? Just get a Katana Bannerman. Remember, guys, Katana Bannerman buffs Shinobi. I'm waiting for the meta to become Shinobi Onobigisha and watch it somehow be archers, even though it shouldn't. I do think that if feudal samurai didn't suck so badly, you would see the strategy be Koka into feudal samurai and then push with Katana Bannerman timing. But like statistically, feudal samurai just not worth it. When Japan first came out, there was a lot of talk about them being really gigabusted. And then people tried it and realized it was bad. It was like going Mass Scouts Hippodrome Triumph. It sounds cool. And then just loses. So, this is a lot of Shinobi, by the way. B can get an incredible fight here, but he needs to lead with the Horseman. Spearmen are coming out. This is not the way to begin, B. Shin in. Gets rid of the Spearman straight away. Horsemen are going to wrap around the back, but the Shinobi need to peel away from this. They'll go for the reinforcements. Going to target this down. The Uma Bannerman very tanky. A good distraction in here if the target fire goes onto him. Now, it might be looking like a good fight for Dimu, but you have to remember that his units are insanely expensive here. So losing just one of these Gilded Archers, not worth it for a Shinobi kill. I feel like Dimu lost a lot there. He's going to lose a lot more steel. Horseman able to chase through. It looked messy. The start of that from B was not clean, but man, Dimu just overextending towards the base. And B fully leveraging that mobility advantage. Now able to go on the offensive. Dimu, of course, isn't going to be saving up for castle. He tries to reinvest, this time into spears. But guys, here's the thing about this comp that makes it so good for Japan. Spears get destroyed by Shinobi. So B has options. He can either just try to go for more aggro with Shinobi scaling, or he can play for castle now. And it looks like our local 3D clan member is going to be heading towards castle. I agree, Marine Lord. See, Marine Lord, you just said, Dimu lost as many units as he lost hair. He's doomed. It's a fair statement. I mean, that fight made Shinobi look as broken as Marine Law's ankle. It's ridiculous, actually, when you use these units at the highest level. I think this is what I want to see more of. These type of units allow for micro-expression. That's why I love them so much. So B is just going to bait him out, because now what Dimu's doing is over-investing in the age. Right, like, this is really expensive, this remass. The good news, at least for Ben, is like the Gilded Archers can keep value. The bad news is I'm not sure they keep value against Mounted Samurai. Yeah, some matchups have them more like Mounted Samurai, but this one's going to make them very happy, right? Because Dimu has to come out of his base in a rush for relics. The other awkward part about being Order the Dragon, you kind of suck at your relic timing compared to HRE, because you can't prep prelates ahead of the age, right? You can only start going for relics once you've reached Castle Age. It's kind of crazy, actually, because Japanese can have a better timing into relics than you can. Because once the Floating Gate completes, they have a unit. How can we forget? You don't need Floating Gate. Oh, it's been a while. Temple of Equality is actually not a meme in this matchup, guys. Temple of Equality actually makes the fights equal. Because remember, Dimu is going to have a smaller army. So that debuff of 50% goes a lot further when you're using it on the dragons. Yeah, I've seen this matchup a few times, and I gotta say, like, if there is one civ that Temple of Equality can and probably should be built against, this is that civ. It's the only one, actually. Anyone else, and I'm a bit questionable, but when you build it against Order of the Dragon, a lot of the high-value plays just feel like a wet fart, right? Like, you know, the Gilded Crossbowmen, hand cannons eventually, Gilded Knights, they're all just going to be hitting like little puppies with squeaky toys. The interesting thing is we were talking about like micro-expression with Shinobi. In theory, if you had enough APM, Temple of Equality could be busted. So you guys know what I'm saying? The reason it can be busted is because if, for example, in a fight, you actually had the time, you had the APM to like, with 20 different monks, target different units to debuff, it'd be good. Hold on a second. What the hell is this? The horsemen raid in, the villager wall up, and the shiv's out here. Dimu, he doesn't lose a soul. Okay, he loses one. I can't believe that. All right. Ben just got the wipe he needed. He deletes the wall straight away with a smug git look on his face because B just threw away any type of flow he had across the map at a critical point when both of them are looking towards relics. I can't believe this. These play make sense if it's not Temple of Equality, right? Like you can't treat your army like a disposable tool in such a way when you go for the TOE build. That's a Floating Gate build. Now, Dimu has a way of playing the age after what looked like a horrible fight in feudal. B has all of a sudden balanced this one back out again. Dimu, he should be looking to move for center relics, really. With an army this big, you definitely are justified in doing so, and you need to fast. Maybe he doesn't realize that it's actually a Temple of Equality build, right? I don't think Dimu ever scouted it. The problem is if you don't realize it, remember, these come out very quickly. You only pay 80 gold per Buddhist, so it doesn't take long to rush relics. Gilded Crossbows getting queued up. I mean, Dimu... I think we had like maybe a 65-70% odds for Japanese, and in the last minute, it's gone back to about a 50-50. If he can get at least 2, it could be even higher. There are still mounted samurai out there. Remember, Dimu's using a slow comp, so it might be a bit tricky to just ride blind here. And because the Buddhist monk choice, B should end up with 4 of the 5 relics. So do have the berry back gathering as well. Remember, he did play Pro Scout, so he has had that extra lifeline of the deer to work with, but I think he's getting low in that regard. All on the flank. And that's going to confirm it to Dimu, so he now knows that it's Buddhist play. He might have noticed the baldness. I think someone who lives the life of a bald should be able to identify the bald straight away. Like the beard hunter from Doom Patrol. Shinobi. Oh, that was so close to being good enough. Remember, the attack speed low on these, but Horseman does get the kill. And this is looking like 2 relics for Dimmu. Okay, wow. It actually... Is this going to be free? By God, he might be getting free here. B's trying to scale into Yumi. It's not the worst idea. I think Gilded Archers counters you hard, though. And Doom already has 10 of those. Right? Like, he needs to do something. And I think one of the big problems is because B went for Coca. The weakness of going Coca is at this stage in the game, you don't have food. Right? Like, he doesn't have the Kura storehouse to make the farm transition smooth. No, instead, he's taking risks out into the map. Farmhouse in the center. Yumi are going to reveal themselves. Those Gilded Archers are upgraded. And after seeing this, this is where Dimmu should be queuing up scale armor. Spearmen are getting up, maybe sacrifice themselves to say that, but B... Where's the micro? She's not even microing away from the spears. Yeah, this fight has gone a lot better for Dimmu than it probably should have done there. B realizes a little bit too late. That's tricky, right? He didn't want to move away because the Gilded Archers would have had more range, so you can't really kite them, but it's all about kiting the spears. The high base damage does matter here. He's going to follow this up by recommitting. No scale armor on the way from Dimmu, which is interesting considering he is actually adding in more of these archers. Alright, 1s if you think Dimmu is going to win this, 2s if you think B is going to take it. Because this is looking grim in a few different areas to B. You can't pick up enough relics, right? It's looking like it's actually going to be 3 relics in favor of OOTD. He hasn't got farm transition coming, which means he's having to play out into the center of the map. Meanwhile, Dimmu is already several farms deep. He won't be coming out. However, the Mountain Samurai are going to go in. And that is starting to add up. Look at the worker kills. Are you kidding me? He's not even done yet. Spearmen are coming out, crossbows as well, but the Mountain Samurai are just going to stand their ground. There's no textiles here from Dimmu. All of a sudden, he gets 3 relics, but it comes at a high toll. I can't believe this. There's a small group of Mountain Samurai going in because Dimmu decided to march out to both the east and western flank. B, instead of reacting to that play, plays completely away from it. Now finds himself leading by 17 workers with a total lead of 12 worker kills more than Dimmu. Now he's going to have to get creative himself. I mean, the worry I have here is his army is all about a direct engagement, so he needs to rush towards the enemy base. The good news, B threw away a lot of Yumi. The bad news is this should be the predictable play. Another bad news element here is I'm wondering if B's going to use it. If he gets a few more of these Mountain Samurai together, remember, the Buddhist monks can Wololo to give you a damage buff. Mountain Samurai, at this stage of the game, are the best unit at using that buff. He's going to be marching into the eco line. Slight bit of hesitation there. Textiles, a good choice there by B. We do have the farms now coming in. This is the fragile point for him. If he can swat this away, we have a very rough game ahead for Dimmu. He's got Veterancy for Horsemen coming. He has got the farms to enable that. Outpost is on the way, but not really being built quick enough here. Dimmu is going to start aggroing. Gotta be careful with the spears, though. The Yumi, the pristine counter in this engagement. Exactly what he needs to try and clear his way through. The Mountain Samurai may be a little bit overzealous, though. Yeah, patience not really there from B. Dimmu now can counter dive. Sohai Sutra is going to be coming out, but where are the monks? You've only got 1. And the other issue is he's not debuffing the backline. The Gilded Crossbowman is the thing you have to remove here. Dimmu, he's going to find enough, and that is going to be it. B, a remarkable dive, but just as good of one in return. Benny Boy finds the timing, finds the entry, and finds a way of reminding us exactly why no one should be building Temple of Equality. Even in the matchup where it looks good. And a change from last week because we kick off with Dimmu now leading. Well. We may have a reverse from circumstances here. Dimmu up 1 game, and with this Civ pick, we could easily be looking at a 2-0. We head to King of the Hill, where Dimmu has picked the sturdy and reliable English. The B... Is that a Pro Scouts build I'm seeing coming? I'm trying to think what else he could have in mind here. Maybe Dervish, but then again, you're against English, especially if they go Council Hall, you're in trouble. Predictions? Ah, yes, let's get the predictions rolling, you Gambaholics. Give you guys 2 minutes for that. Yeah, English have historically just been a really dominant pick here, right? In the old school King of the Hill meta, they were the goated Civ. I still remember when Viper won a tournament practically just by picking English in the grand finals. Most notably was how it started with King of the Hill, if I remember correctly. But Ayubids weren't around at that time, right? And also we have a very different meta. It's not just about White Tower drop in the center and GG in the game with the changes to Siege. But it is going to be about the Pro Scouts, which is what the new meta has become. When you look at the map, and you look at the civs that dominate here, it's ones that can go for deer gathering. It's why Roose have looked pristine, because also the gold generation in the corner. But with Advancement Wing, you can very clearly see that's what we're getting from B. So he's going to get aggressive timing into Pro Scouts here. Dumu could theoretically mirror Pro Scouts play. I've seen English do it, but against Advancement Wing Pro Scouts, I think you're going to be a little bit too slow. So wouldn't be surprised if we get a good old Council Hall build. What's important for Dumu before he makes that choice is where the gold is. And unfortunately for him, this is not a Ford Gold Spawn game. Yeah, Ford Gold Spawn would have actually just been the jackpot, right? Like, English should park on the front. All of a sudden, B can't go for fast Castle Ayyubids. He wouldn't even be able to get necessarily like enough gold to feel cozy playing the Age with, say, some Desert Raiders on the raiding side. But it's going to be Abbey of Kings, so Desert Raiders will likely come into the equation. Typically, when you see the Abbey of Kings play, the counter is to get one camel out, and then mirror his moves. I'm wondering, does that mean... We wouldn't be thinking about 2TC here, would we? Wait, I'm sorry. Did I just read that correctly? Someone misses super late game China versus super late game English? Why? Who misses that? I mean, you can usually just get that by watching a SAS game as well, actually, to be fair. All right, that's unfair. Usually it's French or Roose he takes us the late game with. I don't know, man. I feel like I've seen a few super duper late game Chinese English games recently. They're not that hard to come by. How's the sheep count looking as well? 10 to 17. Wow. So Dumu off to a great start here, especially considering that B hasn't touched the sheep, right? Oh. Oh, wow. No. He's quite late moving out onto the berries. Viper started the open with one farm. Thought that was cool with English. Yeah, well, they expanded into two. We were talking about a little bit earlier in the previous series about how like Vortex really innovated when you had that weird kind of formation around the TC, right? I still remember when he introduced that into pro play and it took over. Kind of glad that farming has taken a back stopper here. I think like once Pro Scouts gets nerfed, we'll have a healthy dose of like situations where you do see the deer play. From Pro Scouts, do you see people go out deer, do you see people go out and poor. Farms, I don't really ever want farms to be like truly the go-to meta. I think farms is way too safe. Like my notion when it comes to balance is like risk-reward association, right? And that's why we see Pro Scouts all the time right now, because it's low risk, high reward. Which makes it quite the no-brainer. But this is going to be very different. It is indeed going to be the 2TC. So Dumu, I wonder if he's going to shove these deer in. If he can get the deer to say here, he could actually wall it off and TC drop, which would make it worthwhile. The alternative choice is here. Because if you shove these deer inwards, you can drop the TC here. You get them beyond, and you have gold, berries, everything in the area. He's definitely going to need to do one of those things, because essentially, otherwise, you're ignoring 2TC. You're ignoring Pro Scouts, rather. And that means that 2TC can get punished by Fast Castle. Vortex was king of animation cancelling? Ah, dude, don't get me started. I mean, we have Marine in chat. I'm sure he still remembers the... well, was it Marine Lord? Was it the... I think the most infamous one was the Boulder Bay game. It was you versus Vortex, right? And it was like a 4-minute GG because he burnt your dock with scouts. Good God. That was a nightmare fuel time. Wait, was it you who beat him? I remember one of you GG'd out at like 4 minutes. That stuff was dirty. So second TC drop is coming in, but yeah, he went very safe with this. He's going to secure his tree line. So you never know if Dumu's telling the truth or not. He just, by default, says he destroys everyone. Except magic. You remember it was like it was yesterday. Okay. How Sora was discovering the Ottoman mass archer build. Mr. asking you to gentleman agreement. Okay, so we've got a few pros in the chat. What is your take on gentleman agreements? Because we've got the early game. It's going to be pro scouts, right? Plus versus 2TC. There's not going to be too much aggro immediately. What's your take on gentleman agreements? Because my take is like, it's dumb if a gentleman agreement is ever required in a scene. But like, there are some scenes that fundamentally refuse to exist without it. So like, this has been a really controversial thing in Call of Duty at the moment, right? It's like, usually they have gentleman agreements, and because one of the teams broke the gentleman agreements, they're now being like exodized from the scrims. Need to make it a rule or not? Agreed. It's like, it should be on the tournament organizers to say this is dumb or this is not allowed. That's the thing I think people misunderstand. It's like, you know, all these scenes have these rules. Yeah, but like the whole point is that the TO should be making the rule, not the players, right? Because a gentleman's agreement, like, you can't get mad when someone breaks a gentleman's agreement. And by the way, it's crazy that people are able to trust each other in any scene with that. Like, if there's 100k on the line, how many people do you think are going to honor a gentleman's agreement versus breaking it? So we do have the double desert raider, by the way. We mentioned this is the way you just count the king. He can't do anything once this comes out. So Dumu's just going to have to avoid as best he can. And it looks like it is now just going to be a naked castle age play. B, probably going to be going up with the growth wing here. There's not really anything else that's more enticing. You could gamble with the trade wing, but really, why would you here? Against 2TC, I don't think it necessarily hits quick enough. And for Ben, it's just about trying to cleanly get into the next stage. Unfortunately for him, okay, actually, not too bad. I was about to say, unfortunately for him, I think he hasn't got that much food, but actually, he's still sitting on 13 sheep here. It's a street fight, no such thing. Smash Melees has a bunch of gentleman's agreements. Yeah, but like, so I think the misunderstanding there is like, the reason that happened is because I wouldn't really say there is a reliable network of tournament infrastructure, if that makes sense. There's loads of people that run tournaments. There's no like universal big swinger to say what is or isn't banned. Does that make sense? Like, it's very different. Like with AoE 4, we pretty much have like one big tournament organizer consistently. Another one that comes in occasionally, and then a bunch of people doing things around that. It's like, if the big one says no to something, it's pretty much going to become, or likely become, regular ruling. The other weird thing is, like, you have to realize that some scenes don't want to do gentleman agreements because... don't want to do rules, rather. Have to do gentleman's agreements because basically, if a dev says something's banned, they're kind of saying that like they've done a bad job designing it. Does that make sense? Right? Like, if Microsoft came in and went, you cannot do pro scouts. And you're like, why? It's like, it's not balanced. What they basically just admitted is, like, the design team screwed up. So it's kind of weird in that way. That's why you put it on the TOs, because the TOs are then, like, a separate body. So yeah, a little bit of shenaniganing around the center here. We do have Cast Stage on the way, by the way. Growth Wing coming in 1 minute. Walls are up for Dumu. This is really just kind of a survival element now, trying to drag the game deeper. The good news for him is he already has a decent, healthy lead in economy. The bad news is it's going to still take him a bit of time to tech up. He's starting to be forced into Lombos here to try and deny the deer. Honestly, at this stage, B has options though, right? He can always go north side for the deer instead. If he splits the attention, the Lombos can't cover all. Yeah, but Stonewalls were banned from Feudal Age. In fact, are they still banned? Because even if they're not, the players aren't doing it. So if you're a gold entering a tournament and want to get a win against one of the top players, go Stonewall the base. I'm trying to think if there's a Civ where the king is less impactful against them than Ayyubids. And I'm coming up dry. Desert Raiders just really ruin your ability to do anything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're still banned. No one's doing it. Like, Stonewalls and Feudal Age is silly. Like, we talked about this on a previous stream, that at this point, considering how long in pro play it's been said don't build Stonewalls, it's a bit weird that we don't just have that by default configuration. But it's because the devs are trying to appease casuals. You know, casuals that basically want to go and have a 2-hour game where they Stonewall up as a team, and then they get 200 trade and 1,500 farms, and they love life, you know? So Lancers are on the way. B is going to have to switch into Rack soon, which kind of sets B... Doom is going to have to switch into Rack, which sets B up nicely for the next step, which is your opponent goes Spearman, you're already going Camel Larch. So for Doom to kind of bypass that, You could just start prepping crossbow spear. I don't mind that. Or I want to say kind of like men-at-arms because they're tanky enough. Like for Dumu, the goal should be to turn this into a little bit of a meat grinder. And yeah, King's Palace is... Wait, what? Okay, so let's dissect why would Dumu do this. And I think it kind of makes sense. So for a start, like what would you white tower here, right? Do you white tower your primary, or do you white tower the fat tree line, north, south? There's just still entry points, right? The other reason is he already walled, and he's against a fast casting Ayyubid player, which means one thing and one thing only: they like camels. If this had been a Ghoulam rush from the Ayyubids, there's a risk that going King's Palace kills you. But I think because B went camel lances, there's no breach point. And he doesn't even know that Dumu done this. That's kind of wild, man. So extra greed to try and overcome the greed, right? We've got double dervish, make it quadra dervish coming. As B is looking to capture the sacred site and get the cleanest timing possible into 5 relics here. I mean, this is just, like, I think the reason that this actually feels really good from Dumu is that there's no real world in which B should know it's happening. And it's all because of the walling. Walling, which, by the way, is really unorthodox, even on a map like this. In the current meta, it's very difficult to get these walls up. Very rarely do we see the player putting these walls up survive. Now, considering B has probably been anticipating 2TC, he's likely to go very defensive here, right? Might even consider eventual keep drop. When I think the play against King's Palace is the dive. Hopefully Dumu doesn't take a long time to contest the map. I mean, you have to wait, right? Like, I think the most mistake you can make is contesting it 4 different times and then just draining yourself. But like free TC plus farm clusters coming in and him going spear crossbows, realistically, he should reach the number. We'd love to see him add in some meta arms alongside the spearman just to make it a bit awkward for the archer comp on the other side. That's, I think, the chef kiss. That's the win in play. And once he has like 4 farm clusters, it's fairly sustainable as well. All right, 1s if you think B's going to win this game, 2s if you think Dumu is. Because I think we're seeing the clear picture here. Outposts are coming up, so B, is he going to take the Springald approach? There's usually 2 approaches when you try to protect the sacred site. You can either keep drop, or you just mass loads of small outpost emplacements. Outpost emplacements is quite nice if you don't want to put your villagers in the front line. But if you want to use these big stockpile resources, the keep drops can feel a little bit better usually. Oh, B, he does have the stone gathering coming. With only 5, I don't know if this is going to be a castle though. It's like there's an attempt to break through the wall, but discovers all the spearmen behind it. One tricky part is Dumu would have to pull a villager pretty far out to repair this wall. Wouldn't be surprised if he just settles on something a little bit tighter down here. Then again, maybe he's thinking like long-term keep drops, right? Like the idea of dropping a stone keep here isn't a bad idea for English with the attack speed aura and also basically it being a siege workshop on the front line. I wonder if Dumu considers... No, I don't think you go archers here. Don't go mangoes here, rather, against the archers, right? He definitely needs to respect the camel lancer threat. And you can see B is scaling it pretty crazily here. So the push point for Dumu should be probably about 4 minutes. Maybe 4.5. You don't want to leave it too close to give yourself no time, because otherwise you end up having to trickle troops to their death. But if you go too soon, like the quality of camel lancers will just kill you. He also needs to guarantee he's got the outpost aura. The attack speed is going to be crucial here. Rewall is going to be coming in, so Dumu protects his flank again. B. Oh, no. I mean, is this oh no? Yeah. So we've been a big fan of B Springald plays. He's been getting better and better, right? He's been suffering and losing games to get to a point where he can prove, actually, this is good. However, here's the conundrum. He's got so many archers. I kind of feel like he already counters the spearman. So this maybe feels a little bit overkill. We've talked before about like the theory crafting of it. Is like obviously they're meant to counter melee, but the interesting thing is they're fairly decent against crossbows as well. Because they're 18 base damage at this stage because you've got +2. Crossbows only have enough health to take 5 hits, right? They're 80 HP units. Like, from that POV, it's not the worst idea I've ever seen. And it's about to get a lot better because Dumu is adding in those men-at-arms we mentioned earlier. Yeah, B is just reading his mind here. And the other interesting thing is, like, usually if you're in an open battlefield area, Springalds are pretty rough to use. But because you're playing into choke points on King of the Hill, and there's only one real choke point Dumu's likely to contest here, right here, you can essentially do things like putting tiny walls so that he funnels. I'd love to see that from B, because he's already got a villager here. So if you've got a small wall here, a full wall here, your opponent just has to clump together, and it gives you maximum value from this. Yeah, the way that I think I've described Springalds recently is you kind of have to think of them as a big archer. That's what they are now. They're just they're a gilded archer, right? Like, they have 8-tar range. They're really good against spears. They're really good against, like, men-at-arms, which I know archers aren't normally. But the whole idea is that, you know, this isn't as much siege as it's like a hybridized archer unit now, if that makes sense. Right? Don't think of them the same way you would mangoes, necessarily. Of course, the trade-off usually with them is they are slow. And I think this may be the best map to actually pick them on. One Springal is weaker than one archer? That's statistically not true. An archer will do 9 damage. Springal's going to do 18 base. And the attack speed is slightly less. Right? So they attack a bit quicker. And then remember, they have all the ranged armor. Resistance. Plus the extra range. Dumu now with the stone walls. The camel lancers B. Is this really the commitment? Can he actually get through here? There's only 2 spearmen left over. This wall needs to be built, and it means that Dumu's going to have to lock out his army here. Oh my god, B is refusing to back away. He wants in. And it looks like he's going to make it. Dumu, he needs to time this perfectly to the wall. Can he get it? The torches? It's only one villager. He's pulling more now. This is going to be tight. It looks like Ben will have just enough build speed there. That was uncomfortably close. And Dumu has put himself also in an uncomfortable position here. He lost way too many units with that attack. Look at the count now. He's going to start marching up, but he may be marching up too late here. We have 2 more mangoes in queue to make it 5. 7 Springals, meanwhile, for B. And still a healthy 24 camel lancers to party with. Remember, he still also has those dervishes in the center, so does have the ability to heal. He's gone for the poor man's logistics wing here, right? He's going to be able to chain heal everyone, one by one with these dervishes. 3 minutes to go on the clock. Dumu may have a substantial eco lead, but the problem is he doesn't have a military lead. Outpost is getting rushed up. We do have stone being gathered, so the possibility of a keep drop is real here. And it needs to be real fast. 2.5 minutes to go. Sprint placements are definitely proving a nuisance, as are the Springals themselves. More outposts coming up. B, he actually could target these villages right now. Isn't going for them. Spearmen are getting baited out of position, though. And remember, the Sacred Site is also another funnel point, right? Because you have to group up to go around it. And the Lancers, they dive in! Dumu, the villagers aren't even working! He blocked his own foundation, and the Lancers guaranteed it wasn't going to happen. Alright, that looks to be it, surely. The mangoes haven't been addressed just yet, but they're about to be. Wallops come in. 2 go down. And it looks like B is going to even us up in game number 2. 2 minutes away now. And it's hard to see a world in which Dumu can remass quick enough here. Nah, he's just getting pushed all the way back home. B needs to be careful not to overextend. In some ways, you want to keep pressure going because if you back up, your opponent can maybe remass. With 2 minutes left on the clock, this should be his time to shine. More siege workshops being added in by Dumu. The meat grinder has to be real here. He still hasn't cancelled the blueprint. I think he's going to do or die by this keep. And that was crazy. What a fight. How did he have 24 camel lancers this deep in, man? I mean, that really does kind of tip the hat to pro scouts, right? Like, I don't think without that much deer from the map, could you afford to keep massing lancers the way that B has. In some ways, and it's going to sound weird, but King of the Hill might be the perfect pro scout map. Because of the Sacred Site timer, right? Like, Pro Scouts, the whole idea is it gives you a much stronger first 20 minutes of play, but then if you don't win, you need farms. Well, the whole concept in King of the Hill is you're looking to win between, like, what, 20 to 25 minutes? It amplifies that power timing. Ringing the bell here. Dimmu is going to try for that key drop again, but the villagers, remember, could get hit easily. Oh, no, the incinerate damage! He doesn't have the stone. He's got another buy, another drop-off opportunity here. But the Manganiques, with the burn damage coming in clutch, and the villagers could still be targeted. No hope, no way. Spears are also penetrating here. He's got the line formation. It's going to be a win for B. And a longer series. No route and stomp repeat of week number 9 to be seen here. I've got a feeling that this series could end up going all the way. Yeah, I think you're all just a little bit too obsessed about me losing my beard. We need to see if this series is going to make B lose his hair on his head. Dimmu versus B. This is a matchup, Delhi versus Roose, in which B is unbeaten. He has not lost to the Delhi against the Roose once since we've been seeing Pro Scouts meta. Is Dimmu the one with the master plan? We head into Borderland, a map where technically, based on the name alone, he should have an advantage. Make no mistake about it, folks. With the way I've been seeing B play the Delhi, in this matchup, it should be an overwhelming advantage for the 3D clan member. But Dimmu is getting creative. Okay, what up? We talk about it all the time on Borderland and never see it. Dimmu has ran out into the center of the map for the high-value hunting cabins. Get your numbers in, folks. How good are these going to be? Because this little normie one back here is only worth 16 gold. He found the slot in. Yeah, these type of spawns have been pretty consistent. You might not always get the jackpot, like, there, but you'll at least get something quite workable, like, you know, a 90-degree angle in these tree lines somewhere. You could even have actually just shuffled around and found another one here. Actually, the best play might have been to build, like, a hunting cabin over here for the berries as well. Just stay gathering in the area. Instead, he's going to walk all the way home. The problem with going like 3 hunting cabins, as sick as that would be, it would be way too much gold and not enough of other things. Other cool thing about that placement, I would be really shocked if B scouts it, right? Because the deer aren't in a position where you'd actually see it, and then the deeper ones, like it just feels like the type of thing where your scout would run here, you get vision just shy and would never see it. And it looks like that is going to be 34 gold. So 16 on this one over here. 34, 61 trees in range. Goodness gracious me. So that should give a little bit more of an aggressive timing onto, say, Pro Scouts, right? I don't know. It's a bit weird because, like, while it's a really good hunting cabin, the trade-off is the villager just had to walk 2/3 of the map to get it, right? Almost 2/3. Thermal Faith is going to be coming in from B, so pretty much exactly what you expect to see for Delhi. I gotta give it to him, man. I've been enjoying B and Dimmu both in these weeklies because, like, B has always been that creative mind. We give it a lot of praise. We hype it up. I think it's why he's got a lot of fans, is he's known for these really unorthodox, funky, weird strategies. But then, like, on the flip side, Dimmu has really been leveling up in that department recently, right? I think we can agree on that. Like, the Dimmu we've been seeing in the last few weeklies has gotten drastically more creative, whereas before, I always described him as like the orderly lad. He definitely want to bulk to 200 more than most top pros would, but he's still playing like a very metaized game, should we say. Not as many of these weird twists and turns. So, Scout, as we said, is never going to see that one. B should be opening with Ghazi as the normal play here. Usually, actually, I think we sometimes see him do racks first, then Ghazi follow-up, and then you just pump and dump in the center of the map. Cool thing as well is running towards your opponent's base here runs you towards the sacred sites, so you're in position for an optimal cap timing. Actually, in some ways, I kind of feel like this map's even better for Delhi than Dry Arabia. Because you start the sacred site timer quicker than Dry Arabia, theoretically, right? What was the predictions like, by the way? Okay, so 68% for B on this one. I mean, part of it on the Delhi and part of it on what we said, I think. And, okay. The man who never subscribes, which means he should have, like, so much money saved up, he should have, like, a 200-inch TV. If you look in the bottom right corner, you'll see we always put the length of the series. We've got a best of 7 here. So because we went 1-1, we are guaranteed a redraft after game number 4. So you might see Delhi again. You might see Roose again. And there's the racks. Yeah, I really like B's approach here, man. This has been the way he's broken all these players so far. So it'll be stables almost straight afterwards. And then you just flood across. And Dumu, because he's going to be playing standard pro scouts, you're not really going to see him build units, right? Normally the reason why you just see Delhi Annihilate here for B is because the Roose player is too focused on getting castle. And even if you get castle, like getting horse archers against Spear Ghazi isn't as good as you'd think. Because, well, Ghazi do counter you. But the other awkward issue is you think, oh, well, you can kite spears and kill them. Sure, but the attack speed wind-up is so bad. I've seen plenty of situations where if you get too many horse archers, the spears just wipe out as many of you as you wipe out of them. You want to see China? I have a feeling China is not going to make it through the ban phase. I'm pretty confident to say Zhuji and China will not make it through the ban phase. I'd actually say Zhuji is even less likely to make it through the ban phase with these two players. Right, Dumu looks way too comfortable on Zhuji, and B has some really creative builds as well. So first tier is going to get pulled back here. B needs to get more swimming across ASAP. Yeah, your goal should be to protect these two, right? In fact, I'd love to see him just camp this deer and use, say, 2 spears to shove these deer further away. Instead, you're seeing what B's doing here. He's going to walk all the way north. We might even see him wall off the flanks. And this panic camp, by the way, is just getting better and better up. Now up to 38 gold a minute. I think the cool idea about what Dumu done there is, did he not have survival techniques? He could have had it coming in at the same time as pro scouts, right? Because the extra gold gen. The hardened status rather for the spears coming through fast. Dumu is going into spears himself. B's done something quite genius here. Usually, B by now switches in the stables. Okay, he is going to be going for it, but he's been delaying it so long that although Dumu started adding spears, he might not suspect the Ghazi element. In fact, you can see Dumu is taking the bait. So mirrored timings here going into archers and Ghazi. And it looks like Dumu tried to get very creative with his rotation. Unfortunately for him, B has been camping. Yeah, so some of this deer should make it out. Not all of it, though. In fact, the spear should have just saw that. He might be a little bit distracted considering the amount of different locations B is looking at on the map. Chase is now on. Is he gonna... He does. Okay, so B does see the scouts. He's going to need to bring more over if he wants to counter this out. Scholars are going to be capping the central sacred sites in the meantime. It looks like Dumu has secured the south side, but I'd be shocked if all the deer get back from north. Yeah, in fact, he has to start dropping them. And also, on top of that, look at that. B's timing to go into stables isn't about the Ghazi as much as it is about now utilizing his own pro scout's timing. Really sick build, actually. I've seen a lot of players on Delhi struggle with this pro scout's timing to actually counterplay their opponent. The mass spears seems to be delaying things enough. And the difference on Delhi versus other civs, the reason it can be justified here, right, is like you're saving 350 resources. So if you think about the mathematical element of that, you know, that's a Rax plus 2 spearmen already that you've saved on tech that you can put into those units. And I think the cherry on top for Delhi with this build is the fact that you can double the production speed of that one building. If it wasn't for that, I don't think this works for Delhi. 2 sacred sites now locked in, so gold trickle begins. Dumu has been dragged along in this age a little bit, but now he's looking to move beyond it. High trade house coming in. Oh my god. What is that? The hunting cabin's got better gold than that. Get your numbers in. I mean, this thing's up to 43 gold now. Oh, wow. B actually went archers. That's new. I think he doesn't do... He sometimes does this, but, like, usually the goal is still to reach castle. So I'm wondering if he's going to continue production or if that is just kind of a baited play to slow things down. We should be seeing him mirror castle now, and the whole goal is the first elephant, right? The first tower elephant or war elephant breaks everything here. Seeing this game, I don't know why people don't like pro scouts, because most games won't be this. most games will be both civs just go pro scouts. And then they divide them out. Like this is very specific civs that can do this. Delhi and HRE are the main ones that can do this type of thing. It's quite rare. You have to remember, for B to do this, like think about the quirks we highlighted, right? We highlighted the fact that he doesn't have to pay for pro scouts, but eventually gets it. He has double production. He also has sacred sites to come out on the map for, which generates an extra 250 resources a minute, right? Not every civ has that. I think the big issue I take with pro scouts is without playing a specific civ, it almost feels like you could remove the first 7 minutes of the game, if that makes sense, to get to the point. Because the whole idea is, like, because you get so much deer home inherently, you're going to see that later phase, that mid phase of the game. Like, pro scouts in some matchups has pretty much just reintroduced the irrelevance of Dark Age that we talked about before, right? It feels like that's now extended to feudal. And players are at least getting a little bit more creative. Like I said, people like B are really working their ass off to find solutions here. And this one's looked pretty good so far. Men-at-Arms are on the way for Dimmu. House of Learning's queued up for B, but it's got a way to go. Dimmu could easily be up to 10 plus Men-at-Arms by the time B is aged up here. Sacred Sites definitely aren't going to be holdable, right? No, if B wanted to counterplay this, he would have been prepping Ghazi the whole time. In some ways, you can play the age behind longer as Delhi. It's just, I don't think B sees it as a worthwhile exchange, right? Because while you're trading inefficiently into Men-at-Arms to hold the Sacred Sites, you know your opponent's going to be going for relics. So B, he's already in position guarding some of these relics. He should be moving the scholars out soon. The goal here is to drag 3 of these relics straight back home. Other element I love about the spear play on this map, you're seeing it. He'd never done it on the north side, but he's already walled the south. There's still more deer for him to drag home. And the High Trade House brought in a grand 91 gold. Oh god, that's bad. It's not easy to get a sub 100 gold a minute High Trade House, but he's done it. Almost burnt the hunting cabin. Yeah, that hunting cabin is actually worth almost half of the High Trade House. The funny part is, like, you know, you could have deleted this. And nah, there's no way you could come out of your base against Delhi. That would have been the dream, but there's no way you'd be allowed to. So Homeblades is on the way. 2 minutes to go for that. We have got Lancer play. Makes sense, right? Like, you don't want to follow into Men-at-Arms at a slower speed. The Horse Archers will also do too much damage. So instead, his goal is going to be to raid. And while you're raiding, you just want to bulk troops behind this to survive. Archers is a peculiar choice, but it's about the Horse Archers, right? The reason it's peculiar is if Dimmu just ignores the raise as much as he can and goes in with the Men-at-Arms, your defensive comp does nothing. Scholar Shuffle Out wasn't there, by the way. You guys notice this? I'm a bit surprised B wasn't marching out for those relics a bit sooner. Has got them on the south side coming. North side's going to be grabbed but spotted. This could very easily be a 4-relic game for Dimmu. B does still have guards on this one, but 2 spears against Warrior Monk isn't going to be as impactful if he's full HP. And not just that, Dimmu is snuck 2 TC. Yeah, I'm actually confused why B wasn't already out on relics when he had mid-map control. Like, typically, you're walking scholars out, at least by the time you're halfway through House of Learning. He didn't really start doing it until after he completed it. There's gonna be a warlord attempt up there. Maybe it would have been better just to have walked off of it. It was ambitious to try for it, so the Spearman are able to clear that up. But he now knows about it, so he can send like 3 Horse Archers over to mop that up. And there's no way I see B getting this north side relic, right? Like, this army is just too big and threatening. In fact, this army is looking for a fight. Dimmu just wants to try and keep B contained, right? With 2 relics running, 2 relics already and 2 more to run back, plus the 2 TC. The whole idea is you're running an advantage over time. It's B who actually has to make a move here. Do have the last of the deer being yoinked from the south side. Or, of course, not on the menu for him in this game. Is going to maybe make this a bit problematic. Dumu. Now going to be committing in with the horse archers, just trying to mop up the archers. Few men-at-arms are going to break in, but the lancers are being ignored, and that might prove problematic here. B now up to 11 lancers. Dumu lacks the answers to it. Like, this is looking a bit rough. The men-at-arms aren't going to be able to hold long enough. And the horse archers, because there's so many archers left over, can't assist. Backstab coming in as well. B going in for the surround. A phenomenal fight for him. And an opportunity now to lash back at the roose side of the map. Wow. Okay, that was impressive. Multi-angled assault in the end from B. Also the way he just kind of laid the cake. He let the men-at-arms overextend a little bit before wrapping with the lancers. I don't think Dumu was really expecting that many heavy cavalry units. And now the efficiency follow-up. B just leveraging those scholars to make sure he can keep winning back-to-back fights. Of course, Voldemar's going to be in chat watching a Dumu game where he loses. Hey, Voldemar, does Dumu still have that chat message up on screen? Of course he does. So, what I'm hearing is Voldemar really wants B to win this. Good position to try to do so, but it is 4 relics. So while his position on the map looks good, his position in the game may not be. Dumu's issues are going to be more around longevity in this corner. He has got the untouched berries, so food isn't going to drop straight away. Wood is the biggest challenge. What Dumu probably benefits most from doing is actually playing and shuffling towards this tree line here, which he's doing. Right? So then you can extend onto the berries, and then you can also look to secure the gold. Even having Pakes on the way. You still have horse archers being played into by Dumu. I don't mind it, but if you're not raiding with it, it feels a little bit weak. It's a unit that definitely needs to actually be getting on the enemy side, so maybe we see him sneak in, but that timing hasn't arrived yet, right? He's still heavily outnumbered in these fights. That cabin was unburnable. You're playing against a Delhi player. It took him 17 minutes to find it and kill it. I'll say that's pretty good return on investment. Mate, this is how you know Phil's bow deals in Web 3, where he promises like 1200% returns and scams you. Because apparently paying 100 wood to generate like, what, on average 40 gold across 10 minutes ain't a good return. Come on. Come on. Uh-oh. No. No, 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 no. No. Dumu's not ready. Dumu's not ready for this. It's a heist. B, he wants those relics. He's like, I could have done what Marino suggested him in optimal, going for the relics. Or I could wait for him to pick them up. Village is being pulled. Dumu's not going to give it over that easily. The Lancers may have wasted a little bit too much time rather torching here. The archers also get body blocked by the men-at-arms. Slow to arrive to the engagement. The Lancer's now dead. This may have been a torch too far for B. He's going to get cleared up. Ford Army is dead, and that means that Dumu will not get punished for the gluttony. We do have some worker kills, but overall, 4 relics, 2 TC, and the big boy army mostly removed. I think Dumu has to be happy with this. And all that raiding, attempting, and B only getting 6 worker kills. It's not enough. He needs to try and keep this pressure up, but a lot of Lancers were lost there. A lot of Archers going down. He does still have 11 in the field. Well, 9. Most of them are fresh, haven't even arrived yet. We do have Elephants getting added in. I wonder if Dumu's aware of it, though. Crossbow count is going to be what matters here. Dumu needs to get up to about 25 crossbows to counter the War Elephant play. Nice quick walling coming in. Dumu will be able to protect himself, insulated against it. And the hunting cabin in play. More gold gen, as well as the extra food he needs to keep playing this. And access to the tree lines that would enable him to get towards those farms. Horse archers. A little bit of overextension here. Always able to quickly back away, right? but the Springald counters these. How are they winning? How are the men-at-arms beating this? Oh, that's right. The war elephant isn't here yet. All right, hear me out, guys. Mass Springalds, mass war elephants. It is the strategy that will get Delhi a win, if he can scale it. This is a good start on the first one, though. Yeah, just double-checking the TCs are both producing here, because, yeah, I agree. I think Dumu should probably be a little bit further ahead. But currently neck and neck on villager count. Now, remember, B having 2 sacred sites rebalances things. You can see it by the gold gen here. It's about 330 gold gen versus 320. We do, of course, have the passive gold on top for Roos. But it's fair to say B is keeping up for the time being. And looks like he's trading better and better. War elephants now starting to arrive towards the economy. This is where Dumu has to hold. I like the way he's doing this, though. He's frontlining with the horse archers because he's running out of men-at-arms. It means the crossbows survive, and that really is what decides this game. Springals are trying to pen through. Are you kidding me? It's actually happening again, isn't it? This is ridiculous, man. We highlighted this about Cat doing this against Numidan, I think it was last week. Elephants, Springald, and an all-in a matchup which should have been lost actually re-scooped the game, and I think it's doing it here. Dumu has a big predicament ahead of him. These fights, these trades, they're not optimal. You don't have the long-term food to get away with it. He has 0 farms set up right now. And if crossbows is meant to be the answer to war elephant play, you need a lot more of them. And each 10 is going to cost you 800 food. Now, everyone trying to write Dumu off, I'll say this. This man has the most miraculous comebacks on borderland. Believe. That might get him the food he needs. He finds his way up to the boar and the tree line. However, B now knows, right? Because there's, like, you don't look over and go, oh, there's 4 or 5 palisade walls, and think, there's no one behind those. It's probably just like they had a building permit that got denied, but they'd already invested in the fencing. No, he knows there's something inside here. Here's an interesting thought, though. Playing far north and far south like this is actually a counter to Springald elephant play. But here's the final thought for you. You guys like counting? 4, 5. 4. No, I'm not going to try to do... You know what? The count can't actually do second countdowns. You can only do, like, minute countdowns. So I'd have to go 4, 3, It's ticking. And this is the thing that's interesting about Delhi with this comp. On borderland, the distance to defend both sacred sites is quite small. In fact, you can see, I'm going to even just rub both the sacred sites so they're all on one screen. Yeah. The only thing I'd like to see from B is maybe another elephant or 2. Like, tower elephants would go pretty hard here. You have to be expecting crossbows as the counter. Give you a pseudo front line that's also able to kite. We have the most cheeky outpost you could get in here. Pretty sure Dumu has been idling his TC. I don't know about for 5 minutes, but I think there would have been gaps. We talked about the lack of food when you're trying to mass army, so yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, we should be getting... Springald, maybe? Yeah, stone's being gathered now. So this is going to become a bane of Dumu's existence. And you can already see B is walking up with a scout. Yeah, you want to be standing down here. You don't want to draw too much attention. Ring the bell means Dumu has to march fast. He has got the stone for a keep drop. He will be looking to stake his claim on the south side, sacred site. If he's creative about this, when the big fight goes underway, he could sneak a villager out onto the sacred site north. But we said, with them being so close, it's incredibly difficult to pull off. Right? B would have to be completely ignorant of a decap for the entire duration. Bar maybe 5 seconds, right? So I think from here, cav unit can, yeah, walk up in 5. Dumu needs a miracle. We've seen him pull off miracles on this map multiple times. Guys, remember, earlier this week against Numidan, previously against Voldemar. If there is any map where Benny Boy can run a miracle, it is Borderland. A map made for him. A matchup made for B. Real test on both sides. We even have greased axles now on the way. strip mangonel, also a really big problem for the mass crossbow strategy here. And a keep drop coming in on the north. So B, he's actually peeling back here. It's almost like he's inviting to move out to the sacred site for a tea pie. And we British people do love our tea pies. So of course we have to come over for a crumpet at least. 30 villager pool. Keep drop to come, but we already see the outpost up. The spring emplacement's coming. He knows. B marches forward. Keep drop now on the way. The villagers get pulled over. The shiv's out. He knows he only needs to win this fight to win the game. The Ghazi go in. Spim and pursue. But the siege backline, they're taking a little while to show up here. Oh my god, he's pulling extra villagers. That's 33 to block this. Dimu, he's only got 5 villagers on this. Soon to be none. No way this castle goes up in time. He done it. B, that villager pool was sick, vile. And the Springald's now diving deeper. He just needs to deny this mango smash coming in. He's so focused on killing the crossbows, he's ignoring the siege that would win all. B's mech army is going to beat the Terran main. No doubt about it now. So B taking the lead after 3 and reminding us why his Delhi is so damn unbeatable when you play the Roos. No, this doesn't work. Villages against Springalds does not work, guys. Springalds should be tagged as anti-worker units. What a load to block him from even touching the thing. What a goddamn hero. B. He's just built with different things for this Civ. Delhi, a top 3 Springald Civ. I can't believe I just said that.